Number 3. So uk, echo, andra.
So obviously, I guess like that echo of verb can mean have.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You should. Your first instinct should be to translate echo as have, not hold. It would only be in a particular context that it would mean something like, I have on my person or in my hand. Yeah, it's really the more basic form of echo, a meaning of echo. By the way, why is this kappa hanging out here on u? Yeah, that's right, because I have a vowel right here, and I have a vowel here, and this kappa breaks it up. Smooth breathing. What if I had a rough breathing? Then it would be the chi, right? All right, good. So how did you translate number 3? Just so that we can all think about the meaning of that for a second. I do not have a husband. Yeah, that's right. She's a Amazon. I'm not holding a husband. Are you sure that that's the direct object? Andra? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this is the accusative case ending for what declension pattern? That's a third declension case ending, right? Accusative, singular, and this can be used for masculine or feminine nouns, right? In the third declension. But we know that the word man is masculine, so we don't have to wonder there. Okay. All right, let's do number 9. Let's read that. Ready? Humonde makarioi hoi ophthalmoi hati blepusin kai ta ota humon hati akuusin. All right. So, which part of this sentence do I want to translate first? Yeah, the day. The day is a postpositive conjunction. Going to translate it first. It goes second, though. So, and, now, but. What case is humon? Genitive. You see that own ending. What number is it? Plural. It's plural, right? And it's got the you, so this must be the genitive plural of you. So, of you. Now, what does it belong with? What's it in a genitive relationship with? You've learned makarioi means blessed. Okay? So you might try to make it belong with that. Blessed of you. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But then you have hoi ophthalmoi, which means what? The eyes. And it might be in a genitive relationship with that. And how would you translate it that way? Yes, your eyes. The eyes of you all is your eyes. So it could be blessed are your eyes. Now we're missing a copula, right? And so we got to insert that in English. Blessed are your eyes. Hati. Now this is giving probably a reason for the pronouncement of blessing. So we're going to translate that hati as because blepusin. Yeah, what's the subject? They. This is third person plural present, right? So because they see. What's the they refer to? It's referring backwards to the eyes. That's right. So blessed are your eyes because they see. Kai ta ota humon. And your ears. Okay, now he had to give you ears here. But notice you've got genitive again. And notice that here it's in the place we're expecting it, isn't it? Yeah? I expect my genitive pronoun to go with the noun, usually after. All right? Sometimes I'll see it before. So this is a little bit out of place for us. My supposition here is that it's been fronted. It's been moved to the front for purposes of highlighting it, drawing focus or attention to it. Because what's the case here? Not everybody's eyes see spiritual things, do they? But your eyes are blessed here. All right, and your ears are blessed. Why? Hati aku usin. Because they hear. Because they hear. All right. Does that help? Yeah. All right. Good. Any other questions? Yes. Number 5. Let's look there. All right. And let's read that. Ready? Ha on ek tu theu ta remata tu theu akue dia tuta humes uk akuete hati ek tu theu uk este. All right. So, what does haon ek tu theu mean? The one who is from God. This all hangs together as a unit. What case is the ha? It's nominative. So what's your best guess as to its function here? Subject. Where's the verb? Well, that's a participle, right? But I mean, this whole thing together would be the subject. So what verb does that whole thing form the subject of? Akue. So there's the verb that's the subject of, okay? So when we translate this, let's keep our subject words, the whole thing that forms the subject phrase together. The one who is from God, akue.
Ek is from.
Yeah, ek is from. So the one who is from God, akue, hears, and then I have ta rema ta tu theu. That is going to hang together as a unit. This is genitive in relation to that. So this is a genitive phrase. What's ta remata? The words tu theu of God. What case is the words? It's accusative, plural, and neuter, right? What declension pattern does rema follow? Third. That's right. Yeah, so remat is the real stem. In the nominative singular, that tau stands at the end of the word and it drops off because it's a neuter third declension, and the case ending for neuters in the third declension is nada, nothing, right? So remat has to lose the tau, drop, throw in the tau. So ta remata, add the alpha, and I've got the accusative plural. That also happens to be the nominative plural, doesn't it? Okay? But we already have a subject, don't we? The one who is from God hears the words of God. That makes sense, doesn't it? If you're from God, you hear the words of God. Dia tuta. So have you been translating that? Therefore. Literally, dia plus the accusative is on account of this. And that's what therefore means, right? On account of this, therefore, for this reason, humes uk akuate. Yes, you are not hearing or you do not hear. Hati. Okay, this is tricky because when you have a verb that indicates hearing, speaking, believing, thinking, a hati clause could indicate the content of it. So what would it mean if the hati hears that and the hati clause gives the content of the hearing? Therefore, you don't hear that you are not from God. Which doesn't really work very well, does it? Maybe it's giving a reason. Therefore, you do not hear because ek tu theu uk este. You are not from God. or from God you are not. Now that causal use of the haughty makes better sense, doesn't it? I don't remember who asked. Sean, was it you? Any questions about this? Does this make sense? Yeah, so that's from Amy, right? And that te ending is second plural. So you are negated. You are not. All right. Yeah. Oh, real quickly, let me just make one comment here. This should come from John's Gospel, and John goes on to make some strong claims, but this is a very strong one. Why don't these people hear? It's because they're not from God. He says in another place, you don't believe because you're not my sheep. What do in our evangelical climate? We reverse that. We say to people, you're not a sheep because you don't believe, right? Jesus sort of indiscriminately brings the gospel to all, which he does. And if you reject it, then you become not his sheep, as it were, right? Not believing makes you not one of his sheep. It's the other way around, though. Jesus is saying that you don't believe because you don't belong to him. You don't believe because you're not his sheep. Okay? People don't want to hear that because it puts God in charge, ultimately, right? Because God is the one who chooses his sheep. So you get a hold of the Greek language, and then you read the text as they're given. It makes a very, very, very strong case for sovereignty. The Reformed didn't just have some systematic theology fall out of heaven and then say, okay, I guess I have to try to make the Bible say this. It actually comes out of the text. All right? So just want to give you some encouragement there. What was it we wanted to do? 7 real quick? Is that right? Yeah. So because we've got the question mark here, we're going to make this a question. So as a statement of fact, if there weren't a question mark, how would you translate this? You believe in the Son of Man. Make it a question, got to add the auxiliary verb do, right? Do you believe in the Son of Man? All right.
So I put, are you believing in the Son of Man? Would you count that wrong?
No, not necessarily, except that, as we said, verbs like pistuo, it's very rare that we would actually use the ing progressive form of that,
I was
right?
following the Mounce way that he is the way it just seemed like it.
Yeah, he always does that, and I want you guys to know that you don't have to do that. Okay.
Could you go over
Yeah.
I don't really understand.
Sure. Let me go to that in just a moment. Let me make one more comment here. Under normal circumstances, I would not translate this as "Are you believing?" Okay. But what would be a circumstance where I would? Well, go ahead. Well, there are, and we're going to learn about this when we get to participles, there are forms of pronoun plus a form of a me, you, are, este, and then the participle, believing. Okay, so yes, that would be one situation. So you anticipated me 50 chapters ahead of time. But what I mean is, in what kind of conversational context might I actually use the progressive form? if I'm wanting to highlight to somebody that maybe I'm urging to stop believing or trusting in the wrong thing, that's maybe leading them down the bad road with, disastrous consequences, I might say, hey, when you did that, who were you trusting in? Or what were you trusting in? Right? I'm wanting to get them to see that there's a reality of their faith being rooted in the wrong place. Or it might say, like, right now, who are you trusting in when you do this? Right? I could say, who do you trust in? But I'm trying to zero in on this, at the time that you did that, or at the time you're doing it now, who are you trusting in? So I could see that. But again, that's not the normal way I would render it, okay? Now, to go back to diatuta, and where was that? That was over here? Yeah. All right. So if you were to look up diatuta or go back through his exercises and he gave you a way to gloss that, I think he would say therefore, right? Now, but breaking it apart, this is the preposition dia, and dia can take for its object genitive or accusative case, right? When it's genitive object of the preposition, it means through. I'll misspell it there for the sake of brevity. Accusative, on account of, or because of, right? So tuta is the near demonstrative. So it's on account of or because of this. Well, anytime you say, when you're joining clauses together and you say on account of this, what you're really saying is therefore, right?
So why did you pick the accusative form of
Well, because tuta's form is accusative, isn't it? Like if it were genitive, it would be dia tutu,
that's what
right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. So tuta's the accusative form. It's neuter accusative, right? This is accusative, singular, and neuter. So because of this thing or this situation. Let me give you an example in English. If I said something like, if my wife says, honey, you brought me flowers, dia tuta, I love you. Okay, how would I translate that? I could say, or she could say, you love me, you brought me flowers, therefore I love you, or on account of this, I love you, right? That basically means the same thing. Yeah. All right, good. Shall we end there?